Shoot right! And again, we're not trying to be like any school of thought. We're just learning out here. Mostly testing gear. So if what we do flies in the face of, I don't know, whatever tactical convention out there, sorry, not really. Alright, here we go. We gotta hump up that hill, bro. All 80 pounds of gear.
Hopefully your scope doesn't get in the way.
The rest is pretty much AR-15.
Awesome move.
I'll tell you what, are you loaded?
Nope.
Go ahead and load up and I'll tell you when to engage. Have your ears on. It's nice weather.
Oh, you're right, Tyler.
Contact left. My subs, friends around the world watching the Nutnfancy project, I think have known this for a long time. Maybe that's why they're still sticking around. But when you click on a Nutnfancy gear review,
That's right.
what you are getting is a hit parade of that item. I don't waste airtime on what I feel is bad gear. Whether it's tactical items, outdoor survival, backpacking items, knives, in this case guns. I just don't have the time, as of yet, to cover the marginal stuff, the mediocre stuff. So what I want you to think of when you watch a Nutnfancy video is that it's a hit parade. That I've screened out all the garbage already, that I'm not going to waste airtime unless the item is rockin'. It's world-class, some of the best in the world in its category. Now I will say I am sometimes surprised in that. And by the way, hello everybody, this is of course Nutnfancy. It is gun review time. Yes, on a great tactical carbine. And yes, I have been wrong. There's actually two major phases when I am doing the acquiring and testing and review of items. First is acquisition. I ask myself, is it worth reviewing? Is it worth spending the time on, the money on for the review? There's lots and lots of guns and knives and other gear items that, in my opinion, are not worth it. You won't see them on camera. Okay, and once it passes that, it's kind of like a girl at the dance. You know, you're looking at her across the floor. You know, is she cute enough? Is she pretty? Okay, check. Pretty. Is she lightweight enough?
Look at the name.
Yeah, she's lightweight enough. Okay, that's good. Is she reliable? Yeah, she's reliable. Awesome. Ask her to dance. Okay, that's the acquisition. Once I ask the girl, the gun, to the dance, you will see a tabletop review on it. And I'm doing it, my research as best I can of my own preferences. In other words, what turns me on, what I think is just an awesome gun in this case. And then I'll go out and try to prove it or even disprove it through my testing and review process using my crew members who help me. Many thanks to them, by the way. Makes the workload all possible. Did that with this outstanding tactical carbine. Welcome to the Nutnfancy tabletop review of another world-class possible Hall of Famer in the AR-15 world, River PDS Carbine. Man, is this gun awesome. And actually it kind of surprised me with its awesomeness. And I would like to also first thank, speaking of acquisition, Impact Guns in Ogden, Utah, specifically Alan. Thank you for the support. He made the review of this gun possible. This gun is checked out from Impact. Impact has been a supporter of the Nutnfancy project ever since I started it back in 2008. Nothing's changed. They are awesome. So please support Impact Guns because they support what I do here. Witness the gun on the table. Checked it out. And by the way, I'm sitting there looking at the gun rack and Al's like, so what do you want to review next? I have a bunch of guns on the list. Again, these are ones that I perceive to be winners. Have to prove it in testing and review. And then I said, how about that River PDS? I want to go rock with that thing. He's like, here you go. Went out and did a lot of running and gunning with this gun. Carbine, to be exact. Accuracy testing complete. It is not, however, a long-term test. Like several guns you see on the table, they're loaned from various sources. They're checked out from various sources. I got to get them back. Sometimes I'm kind of slow in that process. Sorry. Yeah, so this gun has to go back. I really would have liked a long-term test. And by the way, in the Nutnfancy project, that's about a year long. Through all types of weather, snow, rain, mud, sunshine, you know, different accuracy tests, all kinds of different loads. But since I don't do this gig full time, it's hard to fit that in the schedule. Let's get to it. Talking point style. I'll try to be as succinct as possible. No promises. Philosophy of use on the PDS. I would say the things I've always said for tactical carbines, and that is primarily defensive. I'm going to start off with my awesome and very responsible civilian audience, the sheepdogs of the Nutnfancy project. You guys rock. Thank you so much for the support. Great gun for you guys. If for whatever reason you just cannot warm up to a direct impingement AR-15, I still don't know why you would feel that way. Go watch that video right there. But if you feel that way, great option right here. Great option. One of the best piston AR-15s I've shot to date, right here. For defending your home, if raw ensues, that is without rule of law, rock and roll, great gun, very reliable from what I've seen. We'll talk about that. Great civilian option. Defending home, ranch, family, maybe your boat, you know, pirates out on the water, great gun. Law enforcement guys, I know there's thousands of them here in TMP. If you have the option of buying your carbine, great choice. Again, you might want to run a piston for whatever reason. Reference my philosophy video, which I showed you earlier. Military guys, you're not going to have that option. It's going to be unit dictated, service dictated to you, of course. How about a recreational philosophy of use for the River PDS? Absolutely. What a fun gun this was to shoot. Amazingly fun. Everybody that shot it loved it. All the crew members, PFI Dad, PFI Dude, myself, big fans of the River PDS. That's all I'm saying about POU, innovation and design. They kind of started from scratch with the PDS Carbine. Okay, and by the way, here's their catalog. PDS, of course, stands for Piston Driven System. I talked to, let's see, Steve Mayer. I want to get his title right. New Product Coordinator. Spent about a half hour on the phone with him, and he said they just pretty much scrapped the whole AR-15 piston conversion idea, which we see on a lot of different guns. And there's also some proprietary designs out there, like the SR556 by Ruger. That's a proprietary gas piston design. There's several others that I've talked about on camera. Not going to spend time. But if we look inside the SR556, what we see is a modified AR-15 M4 M16 bolt carrier. Okay, no gas key, but it has an extended portion right here where that rod's going to smack upon to drive the bolt carrier, i.e. the bolt rearward, you know, cycling the gun. They did away, not with the bolt carrier, but with this idea. One of the problems with this design, I'm not saying by Ruger, but in some other gas piston conversions to the DIAR-15s, you'll get carrier tilt. That this portion right here is you get a force right here impacting the bolt carrier. What it does is tilt the bolt carrier rearward. As it goes down into the buffer tube, it rubs, and it creates a phenomenon known as carrier tilt. That's why this portion right here has been enlarged on the SR556 bolt. You can say goodbye to all of that with the River PDS carbine. Yeah, it doesn't even have that. In fact, it doesn't even have a buffer tube. The stock is foldable. Okay, nothing comes back here and impinges upon what would be the recoil. I'm sorry, the buffer tube. Check that out. Folding stock on the PDS. When I get to field strip and maintenance, I'm going to break it open and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Let me say this too. We're talking about innovation and design. I did say it's one of the best piston AR-15s I've shot to date. Notice I said to date because there's always advancements coming along. I never lock myself in to saying that something will be the best forever. I mean, I always like to say it's one of the best because there's so many great designs there. If we're talking about hit parade, it's not limited to one manufacturer, one make, one model. There's just so many. By the way, I'm with Cold Steel Medium Voyager. Oh, love this knife. A little gratuitous. I'm going to say goodbye to that. You'll see it later. Okay, this is one of the softest shooting
How many on this?
piston AR-15s that I've shot. Okay, we're going to take a look inside the gas piston arrangement, the short stroke gas piston, the rod, and the whole assembly there. As they have designed it, it has a very smooth and minimal recoil pulse. And no, I can't say that about every other piston gun I've shot. Some of them, although they're great guns like the LWRCs, have kind of a jolt to them. So does the SR556. That there is some mass up front, which I've talked about in those tabletop reviews, at least SRs, and you can feel it. You can feel that kerchunk as that load of metal is cycling back and forth in the front portion of the gun. There is metal up here. It is a metal rod. It's very minimal, though, the way it shoots. Let me start at the muzzle. We're talking about innovation design, and I'll just kind of go tip to stern. Standard A2 flash hider up front, standard threading. Okay, I love the barrel profile. Chrome moly barrel, not chrome lined, by the way. In this version, I understand, talking to Steve, that chrome lining is coming for future PDSs. Kind of a mixed bag in some people's opinions. You get chrome lining, you get a reduction in accuracy to a certain degree. If a barrel doesn't have chrome lining, how do I perceive it? I kind of like to have it, I'm not going to lie. Especially if it does get into a boat POU, a marine POU, where I have a lot of salt spray and stuff. It's advantageous. Makes it easier to clean, longer barrel life. So for my 2 cents, usually, not always, I don't mind having maybe a loss of half MOA, maybe a quarter MOA to have a chrome lining. If it doesn't have it, I can still live with it. Witness the Keltec SU16 series, I love those. Barrel diameter, I think, is a big win on the PDS Carbine. You guys probably already know I like thicker barrels. This measures 0.65 outer diameter in front of the gas regulator housing, piston housing for short. So this isn't really a gas block. I think they call it a piston housing. 0.65, and then once you go under the handguard, it transitions right about here, as I measure, to 0.725 under there. I think that's an ideal combination for getting a very lightweight carbine. By the way, 7.2 pounds naked. Awesome job for a piston AR. Very well done. Perfect balance of barrel width. And from what I can see in accuracy, you guys are going to be blown away, by the way, when I show you that. It's working. I didn't do mag dump after mag dump on this gun. One, it's loaned. I don't want to thrash on it. I want to take care of it. I suspect it wouldn't have any problems in semi-automatic fire. This is, of course, a semi-auto. Maybe in full auto, would you get, weird heating problems? And that's something I said about the SR556. It got really, really hot up here. Again, I didn't do a bunch of mag dumps or shooting. I really would have liked to, but with the time I have, I didn't really have it. Always watch this in a piston gun. This is where your heat's going to be. It's not transferred back into the bolt carrier. It's right here. You can burn your hand. Just be careful. The heat, the dirt's going somewhere. It's going right here. This is a vented housing, by the way. And this is your short stroke piston. I'm not going to take it out for time. There's a 2-position gas regulator here. S is the normal version. I'm sorry, do I have it on S? Yeah, I do. Where the red dot is. That stands for small aperture, I think. So just allowing a normal gas flow into the regulator. And then if you had a very underpowered cartridge, in some people's minds, maybe the gun's really dirty, you just need to up the gas flow, then you would go to L. Pretty easy to change that. Bullet tip, swing it around, no big deal. Some other versions have 3-position regulators. I'm not saying versions of River PDS, but other piston AR-15s have it. Off position being one of them. There is a little bit of a downside, I'll bring it up here, is the current versions, and this is subject to change probably in the near future, are not compatible with suppressors. Okay, talking to Steve and company, it sounds like the system just gets overgassed and it can't be solved easily by just changing the size of the gas port. That the whole regulator is just overwhelmed with that back pressure. 30 to 130% increased back pressure from a can. Okay, so what they're going to do is change this. Okay, so there's your attachment method, by the way, of the gas regulator housing screws. And notice the small run of M1913 pick rail, which I've chosen to run, as you see in the run and gun action of this gun, a sling swivel flush mount variety. You can put a light there as well. Normally I'm not digging so much putting anything on the barrel, but I will say this, great point for it. This is not a free-floated handguard, just by nature of the design. There's actually 2 handguard blocks attached to the barrel, one right here, I'll roll in a picture right now, one right here, one in the back, and they're attached by 4 screws with this particular version of PDS. And by the way, catalog number for this one, ribbed polymer handguard, is Lima Romeo 1222. That is 1222. There is an aluminum tri-railed version, and it is catalog number LR1297. I opted not to run that one. 2 reasons. 1, for weight. 2, for ergonomics. Yep, I'm going to explain that here in just a little bit on the ergonomics. Okay, so not free-floated. Now, some guys really make a big deal about free-floating the barrel. I think I'll take it whenever I can, as long as there's not an increase in weight, sometimes cost, depending on how much money you've got. You know what I'm saying? Those rails can be very expensive. But like you're going to see from accuracy, it pretty much doesn't matter with a Rock River PDS. It's shooting like it's free-floated. Back to this short run of pick rail. Normally I don't run crap on there, but since it's already attached to the barrel, the handguard, what's the big deal? It's none, really. So I just went ahead and opted for it. I did have an interesting conversation with Steve, and we're saying, well, could you attach a short run of Ergo, of Picatinny rail right here on the side? Albeit that handguard is a little bit on the wide side, probably for heat venting purposes. He said, well, you might be able to. I don't know if you'd have enough room under there. And I actually took the handguards off today, looked at it. You do have enough room. You could attach a short run of pick rail right here, doable. Your best option would probably do like we have on Tactical Doodles SR556, and that is going with a 90-degree light mount coming off the top side rail. This one is KZ brand, that is Botash Tactical. Cly Zion, I think is their brand. That's a smoking light mount, love it. I think that runs about $30. So that's what you'd probably, that's running the old P3D Phoenix. He hasn't upgraded his light yet. That would be a good way to run a light off here. Then you have your sling mount here. You could go with the polymer guard. Okay, there's your Picatinny monolithic rail, by the way. Monolithic means it is entirely one piece. There's no discontinuities. There's no way that your optic will get all jacked up if you traverse the back portion of the receiver to the front portion, because it is one piece. Love that. The rail, by the way, is a little bit higher, as it is in most piston AR-15s. In other words, if you take a DI gun and measure the rail height versus a piston gun, it's going to be lower. So that means if you want to run backup iron sights, which by the way, this version of the PDS does not include, future versions probably will, stay tuned, then you're going to have to go with a lower height. Troy makes them, and I think some other manufacturers do as well. And it all depends on your cheek weld too. If you have fat chipmunk cheeks like I do, maybe you sit a little bit higher, maybe regular AR-15 BOIS would work. Myself, I like to get into the gun. I like to put my fat cheeks as low as I possibly can, get a very consistent cheek weld. That brings me down low on the receiver. I would probably opt for the lower BOIS if I had to run them, at all. Probably one of the biggest changes from what you're used to in the M4, AR-15, M16 platform is how you're going to charge the gun. All that is gone. Okay, and instead, in its place, comes a truly ambidextrous charging handle on the front portion of the gun. A la FN, a la H&K, I like it. Really don't have a problem with it except for one thing, and talking with the guys at Impact, they mentioned this as well. If you opt for the railed version of the PDS Carbine, you might take some skin off your fingers with these charging handles if you don't have gloves on. Back to the glove issue we go. Always wear tactical gloves whenever possible. That is because when you come and charge this in the heat of the battle, under stress, you're really going to rack it hard. Maybe you're coming right side, left side, doesn't matter. You're going to run against those Picatinny rail sections. You might, again, take some flesh off. I think it would be helped if you put some polymer rail guards on there. I didn't really evaluate that because this is a version I tested. 1 in 9 twist rate on this 5.56x45 NATO chambered barrel. I would kind of like to see 1 in 8 twist. I think that's a good all-around compromised twist rate. Maybe even a 1 in 7, stabilizing heavier rounds. But I'll say this, this 1 in 9 barrel, very impressive accuracy-wise, even with the heavier rounds, as you'll see. Receiver, 7075 T6 forged aluminum. Okay, it's not billet, forged. And by the way, that's going to account for a lot of the cost of the PDS Carbine, which I honestly took Rock River to task on. I was like, dude, why so much? His answer, well, it's a proprietary design and the machines that make it are expensive. And I'm not just talking about the receiver, but the whole front end, all those parts. It's just an expensive design. So to be profitable, to make the whole venture worthwhile for them, the pricing is set as it is. Maybe over time we'll see the price come down. I'm talking in a matter of years. Could happen. Stay tuned. But it's in the ballpark, maybe even less, a lot less than some other piston AR-15s. Other than that, on the receiver, pretty standard AR-15.
Good.
Okay, no big surprises there.
Good. It's
No forward assist because it would serve no purpose whatsoever, of course. And by the way, that is a Rock River Arms 2-stage match trigger. Pulls a little bit harder, about 6 pounds, because of the abbreviated bolt carrier group. They had to do some tuning to it, is what they're telling me. Okay, I find the trigger to be outstanding on this gun, as did all the other crew members here in TMP. They loved it. No big deal. Though, by the way, that is a B-square AR-15 mount, and this is just a generic scope I slam on top of AR-15s in the project to do run and gun stuff. It works fine, lightweight, strong enough. Showed you the stock already. And by the way, it is a 6-position collapsible stock, a la M4 variety. And when I was running the sling, I just threw it through this rear loop here. I didn't go here. And then the front section, which I've already shown you. You can slam on whatever stock you want on the back. Any AR-15 compatible stock with the current version of the PDS will fit on there. Big plus. You do get a little bit added length with the adapter that comes to the end of the receiver right here. Okay, so you might want to run it a little bit shorter LOP than you're used to. That's innovation and design. I probably forgot some stuff. Maybe I'll go back. Let's press on. Reliability and durability. 100% reliable with all loads tested here in the Nutnfancy project, Rock River Arms PDS. I did not, however, run steel cased ammo through it, and I have yet to find a piston AR-15 that likes it. Now the Kel-Tec SU-16s, the Mini 14s will chug that stuff all day long. Shot thousands of rounds of Wolf through those guns. They're piston driven. They have no problems. For whatever reason though, AR-15 piston guns don't like it. I didn't even bother. I ran PMC, American Eagle, Federal Gold Medal Match, I think some S&B, Seller and Bella, and all of it ran 100%. If there was a stoppage, I totally do not remember it. I'm going to call reliability 100%. Durability. This is kind of getting on in track record. One of these days I'll combine them. From what I understand, Rock River Arms has a gun they have 19,000 rounds through. Not shot continuously, but throughout a period of time, they ran thousands of rounds through a gun, and it's still 100%. Now, he did mention that if you do like 5,000 rounds a day, which pretty much will be no one, ever, but if you did, then you might have some failures here and there. Honestly, I think any AR-15 would have some failures in, mostly. I think H&K has some stuff out there that says their gun can do it, but I'll never do that. I would call the reliability, durability of this gun, which is a proprietary piston design, as outstanding. Weight, balance, and feel. I pretty much covered that already, right? I'm kind of going out of order here. 7.2 pounds naked. I didn't tell you this though. As configured, you're looking at it on the table, and that's, by the way, is with a sling, which is now removed for convenience. 8.8 pounds. That's not heavy with an optic. Okay, not in my book. Yes, I would like it 7.5 pounds, but I have yet to find a gun which I can do that. Put a meaningful optic on. That is one for me that has magnification. Really, that's going to be tough. The overall feel is light. The PDS, especially with a polymer forend, and this is the one I'm going to recommend to you guys as first and foremost as an option for you guys. Very lightweight. It feels like a DI gun. Okay, all the crew members were remarking that, like, man, this gun's light, and that's with this big Vortex scope on it for run and gun. By the way, why did I leave this on for run and gun? Because I just didn't have time. Because I throw this on, then I laser bore sight it, and then I've got to sight it again. We just didn't have time. We just did this one. So even with this large sniper scope on there, it was lightweight, fast into action. Great job with that. I'm going to back up to, let's see, accuracy. Oh, check this. I'm going to start right here. Look at that. One MOA with American Eagle AE223 ball ammo. What? That's what I said. I looked through the spotting scope, actually just a scope, and I was like, am I seeing that right? Out of a piston AR? I have shot this American Eagle out of some other AR-15s and 2 MOA. Here's another group with it. No lie, 100 yards, American Eagle, that's about 1.2 inches. Man, this one opened it up a little bit. This was last month, 100 yards, PDS. And then I tuned it up with some Federal Gold Medal Match, one of my all-time favorite accuracy loads, 69 grain. Seems like that 1 in 9 twist barrel doing okay. Doing just fine. Shooting a 1 MOA group there. Here's another one right here. Gold Medal Match. Wow. Man, this is off bench rest, of course. PMC 55 grain full metal jacket. Shot 3 rounds there. That's about 1.5 inches. What's going on here? Dudes, it's that hunting shack munition. I don't know what's up with that stuff. AMAX 75 grain. I have not got any one of those loads to shoot good out of any gun. I don't care what it is. This is shooting about 3 MOA, looks like. Maybe 2.5. Just awful. That's supposed to be an accurate round. Disappointing. There's 2 more rounds of PMC. I was going to do some more accuracy testing, but after I saw the results here, I'm like, why? I'm there for a short-term tactical carbine test. Done. There you have it. You have a good representation of everything. You know, inexpensive ball. You know, Cabela sells this stuff inexpensively now. Stock up while you still can. And then some awesome accuracy loads. Well done. I say the accuracy is absolutely phenomenal in the Rock River Arms PDS sample of 1. This gun right here. You know, maybe you get one, you go, mine sucks. Sample of 1. Don't know what I can tell you. Firepower. Standard AR-15. What's to say? I got a 20 round P mag in there. Here comes a Troy Industries Battle Mag. Also an excellent option. Every AR-15 M4 mag will work in it. Beta mags, on and on. Firepower is outstanding. It's relatively affordable, and that's yet another reason I just so love the AR-15 M4 platform. And I'm kind of fudging that. This is not really that platform, but it has the ergonomics, which actually leads us right into ergonomics. How you doing? Same stuff. Covered most of it. By the way, the safety selector, very positive. Love it. When I get a rack grade AR-15 in the Nutnfancy project, I almost always hate the trigger. I love Rock River Arms because I don't have to do anything to the trigger. I don't have to swap it out. I don't have to worry about it breaking. It's just perfect from the factory. There's other options, but it seems like you spend a lot of money. I'm talking $2,000 or more to get that from factory. I think we have a Saber Defense SPR. Saber Defense is bye-bye, by the way. But their SPR has a great trigger on it. But that's a $2,000 DI AR-15. This one, awesome, out of box. Standard AR-15 pistol grip. If you don't like it, you can change it out. This is the Hogue variety. Standard AR-15 trigger guard. You can throw a mag pull on here if you want it. Already talked about the stock options if you want it. Pretty much everything is AR-15 compatible. I'm talking here on the receiver for ergonomics. Incidentally, inside, if you want to swap in a DI AR-15 bolt, it will work. You can just leave the gas rings on. The current version doesn't have gas rings, doesn't need it, as you will see when we get to field strip. Ergonomics are excellent. I actually love the stock. I probably wouldn't even swap it out. And I'm talking even putting on my favorite stock, Magpul CTR. Maybe I would, I don't know. But this one's excellent as is. If you're money tight, you got a PDS, I would just run it as is. There's really not much you need to do with it. I already talked about the operation, forward mounted charging handle. You're going to have to train with that. It's different. Some guys will initially hate it. I think if you train with it and get used to it, you'll like it. Okay, and again, in a lot of established designs, H&K for instance, been there for years. Here we go. Field strip and maintenance, wish me luck. Where's that target? Because I don't want to grease up my table like I've been doing over time. There. Magazine comes out. Rack it a few times, safety check. And then it's pretty much a standard AR-15 takedown. Pop that pin out. How's the receiver fit, by the way? Upper to lower? I don't see any wiggle at all. This pin is not exactly tight here. I wouldn't say tight. You might put in an AccuWedge right here if you really wanted to. Here's a takedown, guys. Pretty simple. In some ways, kind of reminiscent of an AK, because this is your recoil spring assembly. There's no charging handle. There's no T-handle to pull out right here. All you do is push this down, push it in, and then push it down. And then out comes your entire assembly. Okay, here you go. Let me rearrange some of this stuff right here. That's the whole assembly in the PDS Carbine. There's your spring. Notice how big the spring is. On some piston AR-15 conversions, I'm actually kind of freaked out about how small of a run of a spring they have. Not so with this one. There's your bolt, your AR-15 style bolt. Again, you can put in a normal DI bolt if you wanted to. This portion here is proprietary. Notice there's no carrier tilt to worry about at all. And if we look inside the gun, I don't know if you'll be able to get it. I can't get my flashlight out because I got my hands full. M4 feed ramps in there. Can you see them? There you go. Those are generally needed when you go full auto. Okay, for feed reliability, semi-auto, generally you're not going to be able to fire quick enough where it would be a problem. But hey, I'll take them if they're going to give them to me for no extra charge. See a look into the barrel. PDS, Rock River Arms, 2-stage. That's it. That's takedown, field strip, and maintenance. Now, except for one addition, you can take that short stroke piston out the front here. There's your screw. There's an 1/8 inch punch you're going to drive out. This one right here, it's in the instruction manual how to do it. You'll unscrew that, take the piston out. Again, that's where all your dirt and gunk's going to be. Have fun cleaning that. Good times. I'm going to put this back together. Be right back. Back together again. Piece of cake. On to accessories. I think some of the coolest ones you'll find for the PDS Carbine are going to come from Rock River themselves. For instance, the Handguard. This is of course a polymer version. I still prefer it. It's lighter weight, more ergonomic, won't chew the skin off your hands as you're using the charging handle. But the tri-rail one is out there already and it's easily retrofittable on this version. Just pull 4 screws out, drop the handguard off, throw on the tri-rail, you're ready to rock and roll. Yes, it's a proprietary rail fitting only the PDS. The good news is it's a very trim rail. Check that out. Very narrow, lots of rail space if that's what you want. Again, I recommend you run polymer rail guards in there to save your hands. Always run gloves, by the way. And they're going to lighten this up. I did kind of criticize Rock River a little bit. For the current version, it is heavier. Like if you lift this version and then you lift the tri-rail version, as they stand now, you can tell a difference. The swing weight on this one, much quicker. Again, I prefer that one. So stay tuned. You're going to see some different handguards coming out from Rock River Arms direct. And by the way, I think they're pretty reasonably priced. Well, about $1.55 if you want to retrofit onto the tri-rail. Well done, Rock River. Again, we see that high value formula that Rock River's known for. How about stock options? More coming directly from Rock River. I'm not talking really about the rear portion. I mean, you can throw on whatever you want. Like I said, CTR, you want to go with a SOP mod, whatever. It's right here. Standard mounting system here in plate. But they are going to have like a right side folder, perhaps even an under folder, if I understood Steve right, on the Rock River Arms PDS. So that'll be kind of cool. As it is now, it is set up really well for lefties. Since you have that ambidextrous charging handle, maybe that would help even more. If you could switch over to safety, the mag release, then we're in business. Maybe one day. So future developments coming on the Rock River PDS. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. They're going to have an integrated BUIS version. I don't know if it's going to be built into the upper rail, if it's going to be separate BUIS. I kind of prefer the latter myself if I want to change them. But you're going to have that option direct from Rock River. There you go. Here we go. Value. Is it worth the money? Well, let's see what that money is. For model number LR1222, the one you see on the table, list as of the end portion of 2011, $1,685. And then for the tri-rail version, $1,840. I would say it's totally worth it when you consider the competition. You're talking a piston, AR-15, they tend to be more expensive. They're more expensive to develop, to machine. They're trying to pay off their tooling with it and make it so they don't go into Chapter 11, if you know what I mean. I've shown some other options on the camera, also excellent, very accurate, very reliable for the most part, and they're more expensive. Maybe like the Christensen Arms piston AR. That's like a lot more expensive. This is in the same ballpark, honestly, as a Ruger SR556, standard model with all the upgrades. Totally worth it. You will see the price come down. However, if you're really in the market for it, I wouldn't hesitate to pull the trigger on it, even with all those upgrades coming, because as I understand Rock River, all of those are retrofittable to your current gun. This handguard, for instance, pulls out with 4 screws. Take that one off, that one, the other one, it just drops down. You can throw whatever PDS rail, it is proprietary, onto the gun, off to the races you go. Okay? I would say the value is totally worth it. Track record, pretty much already talked about it, at least as I saw it in this short-term test. A true track record takes time, guys, you know that. It's going to take years, you know, lots of rounds fired, maybe running this gun really hard in some 3-gun competition, you know, tactical carbine courses. That's where you're really going to get a lot of rounds fired. I think it will acquit itself quite well. It is seriously one of the best piston AR-15s that I've shot to date. It's worth the money. It is innovative. It's super lightweight, very smooth. Smooth recoil impulse, great trigger on it, extremely accurate. There's really nothing I don't like about the Rock River Arms PDS Carbine. It is a home run by Rock River. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. This is the Nutnfancy review. See you next time.
I want to shoot it on the improved barricade at 200. We'll see how we do.
So far, we're all digging that rifle, though.
We are all digging it.
Yep.
Nothing bad to say about it. It's been 100% reliable in our shooting.
PMC ammo.
PMC ammo. We like the folding stock. The 4-in doesn't bother us. It's not the coolest, most tactical 4-in out there, but it's pretty comfortable if you can.
Oh, but you can order something for it. Oh, yeah.
They do make a railed 4-in for it. It's a proprietary 4-in though, so that's kind of a downside, so you just can't slam anything on there. I love the weight though, man, it weighs nothing. Piston gun.
I bet that scope weighs almost as much.
Yeah, with a regular 2x7 scope that I normally run, it'd be like a featherweight.
Yeah.
Even that, this scope actually for what it is lightweight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be putting it in the system if it wasn't. It's like 19 ounces or something.
Okay.
All right.
All right, ready?
Can't really go rollover prone here. 5 on this?
Yep. 5.